Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put on a lot of wigs tonight, a lot of looks, because for me, to shortchange you guys is wrong, you know what I mean? So I'm not wearing heels right now. I am going to stand on my tippy toes, though, to give that effect that I'm wearing heels. But, I mean, for the most part, I did want to mention something. So, guys, I'm really kind of looking forward to this entertainment business thing. Doing it full time would be awesome. I really look forward to that. But I do want to mention here that I sometimes feel I don't do enough. Now you're probably thinking, what do you mean? And I mean, for me, I'm very much the type of person that like sees my videos, and I very much like, okay, I see my videos, and I just see that I do a lot, but I always see that there's something missing. Or whenever I watch my videos, I'm always like the person that's like, I'm always the type of person that's like, okay, I did this type of video, or I missed this hairstyle, or I did this, or I did that, and this was missed, or I did a cover, but I didn't do this cover today, or and I'm very much like, I'm very hard, I'm not hard on myself. I mean, I'm not saying I'm hard on myself, because I can let it go very quickly, and I can say I did my best, and it'd be okay. But I mean, for the most part, you're gonna see me working very hard. Now, I always do a lot of videos at one time because for me, I'm really focused on am I doing enough, And I mean, a lot of you guys probably think you're doing more than enough. You're incredible. Like, how could you say that? I just don't understand. But I mean, I really feel that as a responsibility to the entertainment world, I'm very much like the ideal entertainer. I really feel that you have to spoil your fans. I really feel that as an entertainer, you have a role in life to make sure people are happy with what you're doing. You have a role in life to make sure that what you're doing is good, first off, secondly, or whatever. And you also have a role to, in finale, you also have a role to make sure your audience um, wants to see more and you deliver more. I mean, people know that my channel has 22,000 videos on it, but like the amount of times I've heard people say I want you to do more is incredible. I'm very blessed. I'm so happy. My fans are incredible. And like, thank you. I love doing more. That's what I'm all about. More is more. More is better. More is what should be how you should live. More is what the world needs. Not less but more. So, I mean, for me, it's not enough to say I tried. I don't like to say I tried when I didn't put a good effort, or I don't like to say that I'm doing enough when really I don't think I am. I mean, people might be floored at what I've done. They might be like, well, you've done so many videos and you think that you haven't done enough. Or they might be like, well, how is that possible? You don't really feel that way, do you? But I do. I'm very kind of like the kind of person that's like, unless I'm doing, unless I'm doing like 50,000 or even at 50,000, I would feel that's not enough. I know it seems impossible, and I know a lot of people will be like, okay, like 50,000, how is that not enough? But I mean, for me, I'm really kind of that person that feels that more is better, and more. And I mean, I'm always, when I perform, I always think of things that I could do later, and that I could add, and that I could have changed, or maybe that I needed to do more of, or that maybe I missed a song cover that I really had in my mind. Believe it or not, even though I do a lot of song covers and do all kinds of stuff, I sing to myself a lot during the day because I'm just always interested in songs and always interested in music. So I sing to myself a lot. And people might be like, well, and of course that's how I got to being doing all these covers because I sang to myself a lot. But people are like, well, wouldn't you not want to sing on your time off videos, because you're always making so many videos. But I love it. I love it so much. And, I mean, it's really kind of a nice privilege to have a YouTube channel. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has the capability, and not everybody feels they'd be good at it. So, I mean, in general, feeling like I need to do more is a good feeling. I don't feel stressed about it. It's not like I feel like I'm not. I obviously recognize I've done enough at this point and I can stop. And I obviously recognize that I've done an incredible amount and that I'm very blessed to have done all that. And I know, yes, that I don't have to do more and I don't have to, sorry guys, I don't have to, like Celine Dion was in an interview once and she's like, I think people know that I've done enough in my time that I could stop. And I mean, everyone's like, well, we want to hear more Celine. They're not going to be like, oh, you could stop, girl. We want to hear more Celine. So we're not going to be like, oh, okay, well, why not stop, girl? Like, no one's going to want her to stop. But technically, she's done enough covers, not enough covers, but enough hits that she's so good that we all know that she's done enough. Technically, I mean, we do want her to do more, but we're not like going to be like, oh, yeah, she stopped. We know that she's good, and we know that she's done an incredible job, and that the songs that she's just out are incredible. But for me, like, and she might, I'm sure she's not going to stop, but I mean, but she hasn't performed in a while, and I'm hoping she does soon because I love her. But I'm not sure when her last album was. Maybe it was recent, but for me, I'm the type of person that's always, how when you see someone in Hollywood and they stop being in Hollywood, and you're just like, why did they stop? Or you're like, I miss them, or I like them, or why did they stop performing, or what happened to that person? I'm not gonna be like that. I'm gonna be continuing on until, like, my dad still performed and he was 80. He was 84 when he last had a performance on YouTube, and he had performed live and he had performed big venues even in his 80s. So I mean, it's like, well, it's rare to see that, but when you have that kind of talent and you have that kind of look, you almost feel like you're destined for entertaining. You almost feel like that's your calling, that's who you are. Um, my dad was so like made for it. He was made for it. And so to me, it was kind of like, well, I really, I really didn't. I mean, he had done construction too, but I mean, like, he was the person that if he didn't entertain, you'd wonder what he would do because he looks like an entertainer. But yes. Anyway, I do always feel like I should be doing more. And I mean, the thing is, I mean, most people will be like, well, yes, you want to do more, you want to do a good job, and yes, that's true, and yes, that's great. And you would think that it would be something that people would feel that you would think that people would be like, we don't want you to do more because you've done so much. Like, we want to cherish you the way you are and be happy with it. But people always say to me they want to see me do more. So, I mean, I'm very happy about that. The last couple comments, I mean, people have been really quiet now because of COVID. Nobody really says much, and it's a really tough time for all of us. So we all want to make sure we're safe. We socially distance. We're not going to just go in people's faces and say, "Oh, I love your channel." People are not. People are. We know there's a crisis going on, so we're waiting for that to be over. Um, but with the with my channel, the last comments many of the comments I get, people are like, "I want you to do more," and I'm just like, to me, it's an honor. I'm really interested in this kind of thing. It's my gig. I really feel that this is what I should be doing. I really feel that this is who I am. And I mean, if you are someone that looks good and you're talented, you do feel that your role sometimes is performing. And I know people might think, what kind of role is that? Don't you want to have your freedom? Don't you want to live life where you're not tied to performing, or you don't want to have to worry about, who you are as a performer? Like, a lot of people will be like, well, wouldn't you want to be free? Wouldn't you want to have the freedoms that a non-performer has? But I wouldn't give this up for the world. For me, it's something I really enjoy. It really feels like my identity. I do feel that I have a solid look and that I have a solid way to perform, and I'm really, really happy to give that to you guys. Now, I know you guys have seen Sarkis post podcast on me. That totally sums up my career, not my career, but it sums up my personality. It's very, it's very nice. It's very comforting to know that there are people out there that see me like the way he does, because he's like really interested in it. He loves it, and he was really happy to talk about me, and just sort of say the things that he said. And it's advertising. He mentioned my handle name. I'm very grateful. It's kind of nice to have somebody that's going to give you a good light and talk about you in a good light. And I mean, he did say some things that I didn't like, but I mean, overall, it's a great podcast. And I mean, I would love other podcasts about me. I really feel that even if you're just like, this person is really sexy, or I mean, I don't do podcasts on people, so I don't know what people would do. But I mean, I'm very good. I think it'd be nice to see somebody with a podcast. I mean, like Sarkis. Sarkis' podcast was incredible. I loved it, and he was very flattering to my performing, and he really likes it. And even the things that some of the things that I do, might be like, well, they're over the top, and I'm like, even like my autobiography, I talked about being good looking and stuff, and people might be like, well, why do you talk about that so much? And I mean, for me, it's just that it's not like I've achieved anything really. Like it's not, I have achieved it. My body, I work towards staying thin, so I do achieve it and I earn it, but I really feel that people don't say they're good looking enough times, or that they don't allow themselves to feel good looking, or they don't comment on how they look enough. And I mean, people might be like, well, it's not good. You shouldn't be mentioning that. But for me, it ties into how I feel about a certain type of performer. Like I watch all types of performances, and for me, I don't usually watch good-looking performers. Believe it or not, I do watch good-looking performers, but I usually like watching people that are not as good-looking because of their entertainment factor. So, and people might be like, well, why do you mention you're good-looking then if you mainly watch people that aren't good-looking, and you talk about entertainment factor, and that's good. Maybe mention your entertainment factor. But for me, I think people are really, they like when I talk about my looks because I'm just so uniquely gorgeous, so good looking that people are shocked. It's like when you talk about models. I mean, not that we talk about models and how good they look all the time, but when you watch a model perform, you're not going to be like, you're not going to say that they're not beautiful or that you're not going to mention the word beauty. You talk about it. So of course I talk about it. And I mean, in Hollywood, I think it's important that Hollywood is all about looks. We do love our Hollywood celebrities that look good. Um, like even like when you talk about like and like even like when you talk, okay, like Tom Cruise, right? Like Tom Cruise is the epitome of good looks, right? So he's always talking about how things are beautiful and things are this and that. That's how he talks. When you are somebody that's very gorgeous, a lot of the things you say stem from being attractive. Now, in my personal life, I'm not always talking about it because a lot of people can't relate or they don't know what to say about that. Or I would never make people feel uncomfortable. I don't want people to be like, you just talk about how gorgeous you are and I'm not that good looking. I'm not going to be like talking about it with somebody that's not really, into it. Or maybe I will, but they have to bring it up that they want to hear about it, right? But in general, my personal life, I'm not going to mention it. But on my channel, I really think people value it. I try not to be, I make sure people know that I'm not a snob or that I'm not judging people when I do it. And I try to make sure people know that I'm very supportive of all walks of life. And the outcast is very important to me. I've seen many outcasts become bombshells. Even like when you watch Geek to Chic or whatever, or Chic, yeah, Geek to Chic on like Jenny Jones, that was an older show, but um, I love that show because I love those things. I love the transformation. Some of these people look really, really good, and you're just like, holy. I'd like to see that brought back. Like when anyone should bring like Geek to Chic things, because that was cool. People that were not gorgeous at all, and then they transformed. Or even like there was that show with Bruce. What was his name? Bruce. I forget what his name was, but he had a show, and it had a panel of judges, and it had like them be transformed with some minor some minor plastic surgery or Botox or whatever, and some teeth work done, and then some exercise for some people. It was like a transformation thing. They would go through a transformation phase, and then they would also go through a phase where they dealt with their emotions or whatever, and or they had training to be a bombshell or whatever. So you're just like, these shows are cool to me. I've always been into that kind of stuff. Like even like Will and Grace, Will and Grace had always mentioned words like beautiful and attractive and gorgeous, and Karen was always like about the hot guys, and I love that kind of stuff. That to me is like fun. Um, but but I mean, I try to make sure people know that I'm not like being rude about it. I really don't want people to think that I'm just like this good-looking guy or girl, as Melina and Marco is a good-looking guy. I don't want people to think that I'm just like this person that's like a tyrant and I'm just like gorgeous and not gorgeous. I'm not judgmental. So for me, it's not something I would I would never ever make fun of someone that's not attractive. I would never ever do that because for me, I was fortunate to be attractive. And being attractive is just the look you have, right? Like some people can't help it. Everyone can't help it. Like not everyone, but people that are not attractive can't help it. So some of they can, and they can do something. But most of the time, it was just what they got for the look. And we all like certain looks and certain types. We don't want to just have one type of look. Like if everybody in the world was gorgeous, then my looks would mean nothing, right? And I think, and when you watch even cartoons, and they have characters that are made up based on real people, and you watch it, sometimes you're just like, that's interesting, even though it might not be a gorgeous look or whatever. I mean, most people aren't gorgeous, right? Like, the majority of people don't look as good as I do, or as good as Channing, or as good as Madonna. And that's why people like that are so famous, because people like me and them are probably going to be really famous because we have a look that is so rare. And so when you watch TV or anything, when you watch anything, when you just see any form of entertainment, or you do anything, or you see any kind of person, most people do not look a certain way. So you're not like, it's not like it's so rare, but I bring it up because I think people don't mind me mentioning it. I think people know by now that I'm super nice to everyone. I mean, if you see me out in public, I mean, I've talked to people that are like total outcasts because they're talking to me. I'm not going to be like, oh, I can't talk to you anymore. I would never do that. Like for me, and I'm not talking about people that I always see regularly. I'm just talking about like, in general, there might be somebody that's like a total outcast that comes up to me out of the blue once. I'm not going to like shun them away. I would never, ever, ever do that. Um, I might be busy and ignore them because I'm busy doing something, or I'm on the phone or whatever, or doing something. But I'm never gonna be like, go away, or I would never, ever, ever, ever do that. I think, and that's where some Hollywood stars are like that, and I really think it's not appropriate. But I can't just dictate how you're gonna live your life. But I mean, like, and I heard one time that Paris Hilton always takes pictures with their fans and always is gracious about it. And as much as Paris Hilton might seem like she's total fluff sometimes, she seems like a really good person. She really does. And she's got like she had been abused, and to deal with that obviously is very tough. And so I mean, like for her, she was always taking pictures with the fans. Like it doesn't matter who the fan is. So you know what? I mean, like honestly, I'm like that too. I'll take a picture with a fan. I'll sign autographs for fans. That maybe. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll sign. There was one guy that was homeless, and I signed an autograph for him. I mean, I'm just like that. I'm just a nice person, and I don't. I mean, like, and for me, I think the reason why, well, one of the reasons why I'm really nice to people is because my parents were always so nice. Like my parents were always like the nicest people ever. And my mom was like the sweetest. Oh my goodness. But I mean, like one of the reasons why I'm really nice to people is because, I mean, like for me, I mean, there's a difference between being good looking and not good looking, but I've been judged before for being good looking. You know, people will be very harsh with me sometimes, or they think I have it all, so they're upset with me and they accuse me of things, and I'm just like, I didn't do anything. You know, I'm not. I'm very good looking, yes, but I'm a person too with feelings. So, you know, people might be like, well, you know, like they'll judge, right? Because they're like, there have been people in my life that I've met that are strangers that judge people that are good looking only because they're good looking. And I'm like, well, you know, obviously, why would you judge somebody that's good looking? I would want somebody good looking on my side, but this person was judging me because I was good looking. And I'm like, well, you don't judge someone that's good looking because they have good looks, and that's what people, those people that you see judge. So it's odd to people sometimes when they see me because they're like, he doesn't judge anyone, you know? And I'm like, well, I don't judge anyone. I don't like to. And people are like, well, you could. You can be a total snob, but I'm not like that. Um, and so there was one time where, sorry guys, my hair. There was one time where, like somebody was, what was I gonna say? Sorry guys, oh no. Yeah, I was being, what was I gonna say? Shoot. Sorry guys, this video is long. How long is it? About 21 minutes. um, so yeah, I don't judge, you know. Oh yeah, there was one time, yeah, this is what I was gonna say. So there was one time where somebody was so racist, and I mean, I was just shocked that I know people are racist sometimes, and people will be racist, but I mean, for me, it just doesn't compute. Like, my dad was never racist. My mom was never racist. Like, my parents were so sweet, you know. So, I mean, for me, it's just a foreign thing. I'm not like that, you know. So, when I see it, it just looks weird. I don't know. I find it looks weird. I just don't think it's. I mean, if you are someone that knows me and likes me, I'm not going to judge you for it, but I really don't think that's cool, you know. I don't judge anyone, so even if you're rude, I don't judge you. Some people like to be rude, and I don't want to interrupt your rudeness, but I mean, for me, I just don't, I would never say something racist. Like, to me, it doesn't compute. And I think if you're a celebrity type, you're not going to, I mean, there have been so many celebrities that have been thrown under the bus because they're racist or whatever, and you're just like, well, you know, like, first of all, if you're a celebrity type, you should be grateful that you have all the things you have. Like, that's why I'm so nice too. You should be grateful for all the things you have. So why would you be racist when you have all this stuff that you can be happy with? You know, you don't have to worry about being racist. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This video has been over 20 minutes. Thank you. Bye.